Hello, brother teacher here. I make this video with the understanding that there are millions and millions and millions of people across the planet that eat animal flesh or meat. It's understood. But just because we are accustomed, we collectively, that is, we are accustomed to eating meat or animal flesh, doesn't mean that we were intended by nature to eat animal flesh, or that it is healthy for us to eat animal flesh. This is something for you to ponder, possibly, because there are some of us who are so entrenched in our belief systems and our culture and our traditions that we would rather follow what we've been told, what we have seen, what we have grown up to accept environmentally and socially, without ever questioning the validity and or the natural occurrence as it should be relating to nature and how that impacts us as human beings. I hope I didn't lose you or confuse you. So what I'm saying is, in essence, is this: just because, now right now we're talking about meat eating, just because you've been doing something all or most of your life does not necessarily mean that it is correct, does not necessarily mean that it is good for us. Comprehend this, understand this. So, are we carnivores, human beings? I pause for a moment because I want you to sort of absorb yourself in that question. Are we carnivores? Are we by nature intended to eat animals or meat? Now, before you go running to the Bible and saying, well, they ate meat in the Bible days, that's true. Or the days or the stories that we've read in the Bible, they ate meat. People did. But there were different dispensations of time, different points in time where they ate meat. And there was a time when they were not intended, mankind that is, intended to eat meat. And so if you go to the beginning of the Bible that we know of, and let's use the King James Version, just for the sake of argument right now. That's the most commonly read Bible in America. So if you go to the book of Genesis, you will see that the diet of the man and woman in the garden that we call Adam and Eve, it wasn't animals, it wasn't meat as we understand meat today. It wasn't animal flesh. It was the vegetation that was in the garden. And just a quick footnote, the scripture never mentioned an apple. I hear people all of the time saying, when Adam ate the apple, he never ate an apple. And I challenge anyone to find that in the scripture, and you won't. The scripture refers to what he ate as fruit. That's all. Never said apple. That was something that was indoctrinated later on or slid in there somehow. But anyway, getting back to the point at hand. Were we intended to eat meat as human beings? And the answer is no. Have I always known this? No, I have not. I have basically came into this understanding over the past 15, 20 years. Okay, that's a long time now. So what have I been doing because of the I guess you could say the revolution in my mind and the evolution in the way in which I have changed as a human being in terms of my understanding of things as it relates to animal flesh? Well, I tell you, what I have began to do over the past decade is to limit the amount of meat, animal flesh, that I am eating. Now, someone might say, well, brother teacher, why don't you just quit it altogether? Well, first of all, I'm an individual and I'm not you. There are some people who stop things cold turkey, completely. They put an abrupt stop to what they're doing. There are other people who set out on a journey to eliminate it over a period of time. I'm that individual. And there's a reason behind that. It is because primarily when you have become psychologically dependent upon something for all or most of your life, and you're almost 60 years old, it's not always easy just to completely let it go. In my particular instance, I have been trying to find the right mix of vegetables to replace the meat that I'm removing from my diet. You see, it would not be wise to remove meat completely from your diet when it does have some benefit, really secondary benefit, but it has some benefit. It's not wise to remove it completely when you don't have something to replace it with that is going to give you the nutrition that your body needs. You're going to be harming yourself, doing more harm to yourself than you would be doing good. So that's my situation. So now, with that said, what I typically do myself, my diet, just in general, I make sure that I get my nutrition in the early part of the day when I arise. I make a green smoothie. It usually contains kale, spinach, turmeric, ginger, garlic, onion, Himalayan sea salt, maybe a little pineapple or half a banana, and moringa, and a couple other things to include cayenne pepper. That's my meal in the morning. That's my first meal in the morning. Chock full of nutrition, and I left a couple things out: flaxseed and chia seeds. Everything I need virtually is in that drink. Think about it. Now, when I leave to go to work from home, I might have a piece of fruit. I may even have a couple of cookies and a cup of coffee in the middle of the day. But I don't eat 3 meals. As a matter of fact, I have not had 3 meals per day for almost 2 years now. I basically eat 1 meal. And that meal that I eat, you could put on a saucer. And I'm in pretty good shape and health as a result. Just a footnote. Now, getting back to why we should not eat meat. First of all, every animal in nature has a purpose. I'm not trying to call human beings animal, but every living thing has a purpose. How about that one? To include us. So, every animal or every species that's living on the planet has a food source that is its own food source that was intended by nature to be consumed by that species. We are no different. It has nothing to do with your choice. Well, I think I'll eat this. Oh no, I'll eat that. I don't like that. So let me eat this and a lot more of that. We believe that we have that choice to eat anything that we want to. But that's not what nature says. And nature is going to win every time because we're predisposed, genetically disposed to eating and or consuming those things that is ingrained within our cellular structure. Every race or every culture of people, that is. People are different across the planet. We have different needs. The people who live in Alaska, who are indigenous to that area, the people who live in Africa, who are indigenous to that area, the people who live in the islands, the people who live in Central America, everyone has a diet that was designed for them by virtue of how they have come in terms of their origins and that of their people. And animals, of course, I'm sure you know this. I've used this example before. A gorilla is not going to eat a polar bear's diet and live. The gorilla is going to die because that's not its diet intended by nature. Nor can a polar bear eat vegetation and berries and leaves as does a gorilla. It's going to die because that's not its nature and that's not what it was intended to eat. Okay, so why is it so difficult to understand or comprehend that human beings are not supposed to eat anything that they want to? Now, getting a little deeper, understand this. A true carnivore, a true animal species that eats other animals, has the physical, biological makeup to hunt, to attack, and to bring down its prey, such as a polar bear, such as a tiger or a lion. They have the teeth, they have the claws, they have the agility, they have the weight, and they have the innate predisposition to be the predator. They attack their prey, they kill it, and they eat it. Human beings don't do that. Have you ever seen a human being take down a zebra by themselves without the use of any weapons, knives, spears, guns, any modern weaponry? No, it's not going to happen. But you've seen a lion do it. You've seen a wild dog or a hyena do it. Have you ever seen a human being take down a gazelle, take down an ox, take down a deer, take down an antelope, take down any animal that eats vegetation? You've never seen it happen. Can a human being jump in a lake or a river and catch a fish? Can't do it. That's not our nature. We can devise equipment, machinery, tools to aid us in catching animals, but we can't do it by ourselves, not without becoming injured and maybe even killed by the animal. Only the animals that were designed to be carnivores are indeed carnivores. The human being choose their food. See that? We chew food. Predators don't. Carnivores do not. Animals that truly eat meat, that were designed by nature, they don't chew food. Giraffes, zebra, gazelles, antelope, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, rabbits, dogs, cats, let me retract that. Take dogs and cats out. I didn't mean dogs and cats, but you get my point. The aforementioned animals before the dogs and cats statement, they chew food, and human beings chew food just like those herbivores, because we are by nature herbivores. Okay, now why do we chew food? Because we have the dentition to chew food. We have the jaw structure to chew food. True flesh eaters, they bite their food off in chunks. Example, a shark doesn't chew. It'll snap you in half and it'll swallow whatever it bites off. An alligator, a crocodile, all varieties, does the same thing. Piranha, they do the same thing. A tiger, a lion, a hyena, now any cat and any dog will bite their food off and they'll swallow it. They don't chew. Now, their system, their gastrointestinal system, their stomach is designed to break down that type of protein. Even protein, animals that they eat, in other words, that has bad bacteria, they have the capacity within their own DNA and their own system to fight against that bacteria. Human beings can't kill something out on the Sahara or out in the desert a wild animal and eat it. So you're not going to find a human being jump on any animal in the wild, take them down with their teeth and their claws, because we don't have the capacity to do that. So that should tell you something by itself. And we don't have the ability to also, after a dead carcass has been lying in the desert or in the woods or the forest or what have you, when it's been lying there for several days, we can't go in and eat the remains of it without getting sick, and probably deathly sick. So we are not carnivores. And I challenge anyone to prove to me, or to prove to any of us that's watching this particular video, that we are carnivores, that we were actually intended to eat meat. We were never intended to eat meat. In the very beginning, when the Almighty, the Creator, made man, He made them vegetarians, equipped with the disposition, or equipped with the ability, the biology, to break down the vegetation, not to break down animal protein. It was not until after the flood, when man had already disobeyed God's commands, God gave them the ability to go out and kill, because they were doing it anyway. So He said, if you're going to eat meat, basically, after Noah, if you're going to eat meat, these are the things that you can eat and the things that you cannot eat based on the nature of the animal. All animals are not intended for consumption. So that was when God was making the difference between His people at that time and those people who were not His people, who were called by Him. That's Israel we're talking about. Not trying to switch the subject, but I'm just telling you the way in which it went. So there are some animals that are herbivores, and there are animals that are carnivores. The carnivores eat the herbivores. And if there's any nutrition in the animal that's the predator or the carnivore, it is because it's eating what the herbivore ate from the earth. Doesn't that make better sense now? So you've heard the expression or the cliche, you are what you eat. If a animal is eating, let's say for example, grass and berries and what have you, he's going to have certain minerals and vitamins in him, just by virtue of the fact that it's eating from the earth, right? And let's say a carnivore or a meat eater animal is coming and attacking that for dinner. He's eating what the herbivore ate. It only makes good sense. So human beings only for past several thousand years have been eating animal flesh as a normalcy, if you will, or as a cultural thing, or as a traditional thing. But because we as human beings are consuming animal flesh, we are also creating disease within ourselves, and that also exacerbates our disease process, and it makes us live a much shorter life as opposed to a longer life. That was it. If you have any questions, please leave your comments in the comment section below. And again, I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to leave a couple links in the video beneath, some doctors that are going to solidify what I'm telling you right now. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, it's okay. And I know there's some of you that's going to say, well, I'm not going to stop eating meat. It's your prerogative. All I am is a messenger. It's really that simple. Be healthy, be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Teacher out.